we can have Brandon come, and he's going to tell us a little bit about this year's camp, and then maybe give us a taste of some of the future of camp. So we'll turn it over to him. Thank you, Brandon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It is very good to be back with you. I don't know how many years we've been coming to your Quaker Haven Sunday, but 10? It's probably been close to a decade, I think, that we've been coming in September and sharing with you and enjoying the cookout. And it used to be volleyball and lots of things, but it's great to be here with you again. I want to talk about, like Zach said, a little bit about the past, the present, and the future at Quaker Haven. Kind of frame it that way. And the present, you saw the present, right? I love hearing the kids share about what their camp experience is, because it fires me up. It gives me the purpose. Why do I do what I do? Why do I deal with all of the headaches and digging up the septic systems and hiring the people and doing the taxes and all of that, all the things that have to happen behind the scenes. And it's for the experiences that the kids get to have in the summertime is the biggest motivation. And so hearing them share, not just, well, we enjoyed the food or I get to play these fun games, but the community that they experience at Quaker Haven, the friendships that they make, the relationships, the things that they learn, the memories that they make, that they take with them as they go back into their family lives and schools and on and on. Camp is a place where they can continue to go and have that experience again as they grow. They can have it throughout the year. I want to highlight that there's a Fall Impact Retreat coming up. Junior high and high school students can come to Fall Impact. November 4 through 6 is a big gathering. Winter Sneak is February 3 through 5. And so there's this fall experience, this winter experience, and then back around to summer. And then there's Youth Invasions as well, where the camp planning team plans a gathering. The next one is, I didn't write it down, Ross texted it to me, at Lynn Friends, November, look up, see if you can find my text message from Ross. But there's a theme that runs throughout the entire year, and it's that same theme and messages that are given at all these different events. So Quaker Haven it's not just about that 1 week of camp anymore. It is a way of helping young people build their faith through the entire year and get back together with that community. So what is it? Oh, October 16th. Okay, so October 16th at Lynn Friends, there'll be this youth invasion where you can go and be back together with camp friends. I always have a camp speaker, play camp games, and have pizza. Those are the kind of the three elements of a youth invasion. And it's called an invasion because the youth from all over the state are invading the youth group of that church on that Sunday evening and getting back together with those folks. So again, that sense of community that's built and the friendships that are built lasts a lifetime. That's one of the great things about camp. This summer we served, it was like 579 or 580 youth campers that were able to come and be at camp. And that number is up from what it was in 2021. And that was more than we had in 19 and 18. And there has been between 5 and 10 years of just this incremental growth. And we've gotten to a point in these last couple of summers even where we're using every cabin at every camp, and a couple of the camps overflowing into Friendship Lodge as well with a group of kids. And so we have filled our summer. We added a week. Pioneer Camp was a new camp that we created this year in order to allow for more of that growth and also give families and kids a couple of different dates to choose from, so that if one date didn't work out, there was, for a lot of ages, there was an opportunity for kids to come more than one time or have those options. So Hannah, where's Hannah? Where's she at? So you mentioned young adult camp, and that was in June, right? Okay, so there's another opportunity coming up November 11 through 13, the week after after Fall Impact. That's another one of those young adult things. So that's something that's kind of new in the last couple of years. High school students have graduated out of the camping program, and they still love to go back to camp. They want to be involved in some way, either as a counselor, a CIT, chaperones, these various things. But we've created these opportunities both in June and November now, where young adults can come and get back together with their friends, but really learn some really practical life lessons that are appropriate for young adults after high school, as they're working on whether it's school or careers or relationships, all those things that face us and decisions that need to be made at that point in life. And so we're excited about that as well. That's another great way that Quaker Haven has become not just a place it's this ministry that happens year-round. It happens throughout the whole of the yearly meeting. It's really the youth ministry overall, but it is a place. As I think about the past, Quaker Haven in the past, I love Greg always has these great stories and these histories, and he knows things about Aaron DePere and shares these things of how camp started and things that happened. And I've studied some of that here recently as we looked at planning the future of Quaker Haven and providing for the present. There's been a vision that was created to create Quaker Haven initially, and Aaron DePere was one that was, I think, identified as the guy that started Quaker Haven. I think it wasn't just him by himself, but in 1925 they got together and they said they did a camp there on the shores of Dewart Lake. They slept in tents, and eventually over that from 1925 to 1950 there was just a couple of buildings and a few people went up there. It was a couple of weeks in the summertime. In 1950 Western Yearly Meeting pitched in up some money, and they were able to build log cabins, the log meeting house, and turn camp into what it has been really the experience for the past 70 years of staying in those cabins, being by the lake, sharing meals together. But that was a vision that somebody had to create that experience and make it happen and get together. There was another, camp was only at that point in time from like 1925 until about 1963, it was only 15 to 20 acres right there by the lake. I just broke the microphone. In 1963, there was another vision that was given, and 106 acres were purchased and added to the camp property. So it went from 20 acres to 126 acres, and there was a vision for how that property would be used and how it would be, camp would be able to expand and do more things. In 1970, I would say it was 75, 76, the camp decided, okay, we've just been a summer place, and people have come up for just a few weeks of the summer. Let's make Quaker Haven a year-round experience. Let's make it possible for people to come any time of the year. So from 1976 to 2006, Jerry and Tish Dane were the managers there at camp, and they took a summer camp that could only do things for a few weeks of the summer, and over 30 years added lodging, dining, indoor recreation. They winterized the meeting house. They added staff housing. There were so many facilities that were added, and when I took over in 2006, it was a thriving year-round ministry. They could host men's and women's retreats and youth retreats and things any time of the year, any kind of weather. That opportunity was there. Over the last 16 years, we've filled it. We've got to the point where almost every facility is being used throughout the year. There's not a weekend of the year that there's not something happening at Quaker Haven. There's something all the time. Through the summertime, there's not a day that there isn't people in and out and large groups and various things that are happening. We're to a point where we're looking at what's the next step? What does God have for the future of Quaker Haven? Where are we going? What's that look like? And like I said, we've filled this facility. There is a demand for what Quaker Haven has to offer. And what it has to offer is a natural location, but it's a place where people can get away from their daily lives. They can rest. They can fellowship with one another. They can worship God. They can encounter Christ. And they can respond to Him. They respond to the leading and really evaluate things. And whether that's little kids coming to beginner camp, high school students, college students, families, adults all the way up through any age. We've got the retreat that's going on right now at Quaker Haven is the ladies quilting retreat, and we have 52 ladies that are all quilting for the whole weekend. And it used to be Friday through Sunday, and then a few started coming on Thursday, and then pretty soon all of them were coming on Thursday, and now some of them are showing up on Wednesday, and it's become this larger thing. The reason there's only 52 ladies now is because that's the number of lower beds we have in the camp. If you look at all the lodges, because most of the quilting ladies don't climb up on upper bunks, we have filled all of the beds. In fact, I went into Hunt Lodge, and they have air mattresses set up in the living room of Hunt Lodge because so many women want to be there and be together and fellowship and enjoy quilting and eating and quilting and eating, and that's what they do. So there's something for everybody, and it has been, we're I don't want to say busting at the seams, but we have the opportunity, and there is the demand for more of what Quaker Haven does. And of course, the youth ministry, the summer youth camps, that's the heart of what we do. But I can't make the summer longer, and I can't add more kids to each camp because the dining hall is full, the cabins are full, and we're looking at to a place where we're not sure logistically how to do more ministry. If there's the opportunity to do more ministry, we want to do more ministry. We want to impact more lives for Christ. We want to have even greater community among these young people as they walk their faith journey. So what does that look like? And so the camp board and the staff and lots of folks that have had input over the past year and a half or so have looked at what is the long-term future of Quaker Haven? Where do we need to be in 10 or 15 or maybe 30 or 40 years? And we can cast a vision for that. Just like people have gone before us in each of these phases of camp's development have had a vision, and we are enjoying the fruit of the realization of those visions that were cast before. We're casting that vision. So I'll have the opportunity during lunch afterward. I don't want to go into all those details now. I have some posters and stuff of some maps and images and some ideas for where that might go, and I'd love to have you look at that and share what you think, and we're still gathering feedback. We have not set anything in stone. We haven't said, well, this is the way it's going to be. We've just cast some ideas and some visions, and it's pretty exciting. We're really excited about the future of camp. It's something that, like I say, it's thriving and growing, and we want to foster that and facilitate that growth. That's the future. That's a little bit of the past, the future, the present. 2022, kind of as summer, while we've come out of the restrictions of all of the COVID protocols and the things that we had to do to adapt through 2020 and recovering through 2021, really all of that went very well for Quaker Haven. We were still able to do a lot of ministry. The theme, there's always a maintenance theme of every year, and last year it was water lines that were breaking and leaking, and we had to dig up things, and I think we replaced or repaired 7 or 8 different water lines or something last year, over last summer. This year it has been septic systems. So now that the water is going really well, the septic systems are giving us problems. So we've had to replace 2 wells, work on septic systems. Compressors have been failing in freezers and refrigerators. The furnace and air conditioner in the Oak Haven Lodge had to be replaced. There's just been one major maintenance thing after another this year, and on top of the fact that, as you all know, the inflation, the food costs, and the things that have ratcheted up have created a challenge for us as well. So our expenses for camp are way up over this past year. Thankfully, God has provided, and our income is also way up this year, more than I could have budgeted. Every year I set a budget for the camp for the next year, and I work very hard to be very detailed and analyze every line of the budget. And then reality is never, never what I budget. But camp is in a good place, but we do have some challenges. And financially, as we're going into this next season, this next winter, because of all of these things that have broken down and we've had to replace, we are going into a season where it's going to be a challenge, and we're looking for ways that we're trying to save money and generate more contributions and find ways to serve more people. That'll always be the case. That will always be the nature of running a nonprofit and trying to keep something going like that. But so those have been some of our challenges, but I'll take those challenges over dealing with COVID and the restrictions and all of the uncertainty of what we've been through in the last couple of years. And one of the things I want to be very thankful for, we were able to hire a fantastic summer staff this year that worked hard, got along great, stepped up into roles of leadership like I've never seen before. That was phenomenal. Because and we thought we were struggling. We were short a couple of lifeguards, and we would have liked to have a couple more. But there were camp ministries around the state that couldn't hire enough people to even run their programs, and they didn't. They just were not able to have summer camp this year because they could not find enough volunteers and staff to come in and prepare the food and clean the buildings and counsel the camps and various things. And so I found that out kind of late in the summer and was shocked that they weren't able to do that like we were, and then felt very blessed that we were able to do what we were able to do. So that's always a concern as we go season to season. We hire, a relatively, some of their staff comes back year after summer, but there's new people every year, and you're retraining everybody, and you're always wondering who's going to be here next year, who's going to help serve and make this all possible. And we were very blessed in that this year. So, yeah. Anyway, I think that's what I want to share with you. Just a little bit of that where we've come from, where are we today, the great things that are happening, the ministry that is happening among young people as well as families and churches. I will say this, this keeps happening more and more over the last, I'd say, 3 and 4 years. We'll have, on a given weekend, like this weekend right now, we'll have maybe 5 different church groups in camp. Some are in cabins, some are in the RV area, some are in the lodges, some are just coming to the camp for the day. But it's not unusual for us to have 4 and sometimes 5 worship services going on a Sunday in different parts of the camp. And there'll be a couple of hundred people in the gymnasium. There's going to be 60 or to 70 people in the basement of the dining hall. Dewart Lake Friends meets there in the chapel. We have groups that come in and use the pavilion area down by the lake. And so I think this Sunday there's at least 4 different worship services happening. I think last Sunday there was at least 5. And one time this summer there were, I think, 7 different churches and different groups having their worships different places around camp. The people love being at Quaker Haven, and so much so that we can't logistically handle all of it. We have to say no to a lot of people, but we are providing a place and a ministry where the people of God, where His church, His kingdom is being grown, where people are learning more about Him and experiencing His presence, and it's awesome. It's just awesome to be in the midst of that, and I'm the director of that, and yet I feel like I am so completely out of control because there's so many moving parts, so many things happening all over the place that you can't control everything, but God is in control, and what God has provided and what He's doing among people, I couldn't even begin to plan or direct or fathom, but He coordinates it, makes it happen, and it's fun. It's an adventure to be part of that. So, like I said, during lunch or whatever, I'd be happy to share more details about future plans and ideas with that. But I want to thank all of you here at Bear Creek for sending kids to camp, for supporting us financially, for keeping us in your prayers, for encouraging my family and I, and all the things that you guys have done for us. Of probably, I think there's 80 to 90 congregations in Indiana and Western really meeting. Bear Creek is one of about 5 that I think of as being the ones that really love Quaker Haven, use Quaker Haven, support Quaker Haven more than most others. And so I want to thank you guys for being there for us and for using camp and making it your ministry.